This is the small wooden cabin known as Florida's first capital. Behind those wooden walls is a story about enslaved black laborers whose forced work helped build the foundation of the capital city. In 1824, Tallahassee was selected as the capital for the Florida Territory because it was located between the older Florida settlements of St. Augustine and Pensacola. At the time, Florida was not yet a state. It was governed by William Pope Duval, Florida's first territorial governor, who served from 1822 to 1834. He owned the Hornsby Bend Plantation in Leon County, which relied on slave labor. Under Governor Duval's administration, the territorial government needed a place to operate. The first capital was not a grand building. It was a simple log cabin. This humble structure represented the beginning of Florida's political power. So who built it? Historical accounts connect the construction to Judge Jonathan Robinson of Gaston County and planter Sherrod McCall. These men arrived in the area with black enslaved laborers and built 3 log cabins, including the cabin that became Florida's first capital. Judge Jonathan was not only an enslaver, but also a government official. He became Gaston County's first territorial judge and was among the early powerful landowners in the region. Sherrod McCall was also an enslaver who participated in the development of early territorial Florida. The enslaved men, women, and teenagers are the people who physically built these structures. They cut the timber, shaped the logs, cleared the land, and provided the labor that allowed Florida's first government building to rise. Their names weren't recorded. These black laborers were not paid for their labor. Under the system of slavery, enslaved people were hired out to work for contractors, businesses, or government projects. The payment generally went to the person who claimed ownership over them, not the enslaved worker. And when we talk about enslavers in early Leon County, we have to understand they were not only plantation owners. Slaveholders included wealthy planters, but they also included contractors, government officials, judges, military leaders, merchants, and businessmen. Enslaved labor was tied to the wealth and power of the people who shaped early Florida. By 1860, Leon County had one of the largest enslaved population in Florida. The county became one of the centers for Florida's cotton economy, with thousands of enslaved black people working across plantations throughout the region. Any of the powerful families who influenced Tallahassee's growth built their wealth through land ownership and enslaved labor. Men such as Richard Keith Call, Benjamin Chairs, George Taliaferro Ward were connected to both political power and the plantation economy. The majority of the enslavers in the antebellum Leon County were white. The laws, political system, and economic structures of slavery were created and controlled primarily by white leaders and slaveholders. The contradiction is impossible to ignore. The first capital of Florida was built by people who had no voice in the government that operated inside of it. They could not vote, they could not hold office, they could not legally control their own labor or freedom. Yet, their forced labor helped build the foundation of the state. So when you look at the first capital cabin in Tallahassee, don't just see a wooden building. See the enslaved black laborers whose names history left behind. Because Florida's first capital was not built only with timber. It was built with the labor, skill, and sacrifice enslaved black natives and African Americans whose stories deserve to be remembered.